This is Colin McGuigan for IFLTV. You know when I look in that camera and you're just staring at me, it freaks me out. Well, but like, first of all, sorry, let me just. Why have you got this chest hair out like that? Why?
Not really chest hair, is it? It's just like.
I mean, it's horrendous. It is actually horrendous. Like, why no t-shirt under a cardigan? I've never seen anyone do it.
This is actually the look. If I show you the look, like, this is the look.
I'm not sure. I don't know. You're going back for the dentist.
seriously,
The
mate.
dentist vibe.
Can't
You told me my
I've got
jacket's
a lot
nice.
of work to do, mate. I can't be bothered with these little 2-bob outlets. Do you know what I mean? Let's go.
Right, let's go. Eddie, unbelievable night in Philadelphia. First of all, the crowd always turns out for Boots Ennis. Impressed with his performance today?
Yeah, I think the problem is he's trying to make it entertaining. So, like, everybody knows the first fight against Judasian wasn't a great fight. I actually thought it was a really good fight tonight, by the way. But he did that. Like, he made too many mistakes. He got, hit too much. And I think, really, the other thing that I've noticed this week is it has been tight at the weight, you know? And I think sometimes you lose a little bit of your zip. But you're not going to have the same kind of fear factor that you do against those kind of guys that you would do against, obviously, Terence Crawford, Virgil Ortiz, whoever it is. So, we've got some decisions to make. Obviously, we know there's been discussions about the Virgil Ortiz fight, and maybe it is time to move to 54. Thought it was a really good fight, but I thought it was an average performance.
Is it right in saying that Boots needs a game opponent? And I'm not saying Karen actually was more game than what most people thought, right? But you need someone who's going to come a bit more.
He just needs an opponent where he's going to really be switched on against. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I think that you're going to see him at his very best against the better opponents. But I do think a performance like that will make it easier to match him, which is encouraging. So we'll see. But at the same time, maybe his days at 147 are numbered.
Oscar De La Hoya has tweeted and tagged Turkey Al-Sheikh, not tagged you, but tagged Turkey Al-Sheikh and said that I want to make this fight as the main event, matchup against Golden Boy. You want to do that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think, for me, honestly, I think that's one of the best fights to be made in boxing. I rate Virgil Ortiz very highly, and I love Robert Garcia as well. I just think it's a great fight, and they'll fancy their chances now. Because, as I said, it was an average performance from Boots. And if he's going to fight Virgil Ortiz, he can't afford to take shots like that as well. But you'll see a different kind of Boots Ennis against the level of opposition like Virgil Ortiz, particularly at 154. So, yeah, lots to discuss, but very, very much open for that fight.
If it's not Virgil Ortiz, Conor Benn's here tonight. Was the idea with him being here tonight that...
To be honest, Conor watched the fight. And everybody watched the fight and went, I've had Louis the Cubist from PBC message me, and say, oh, maybe we'll do the Stanionis fight. But yeah, people are going to want to fight Boots Ennis after a performance like that. But that's not the best of him, and there's much more to give. So, I think the next decision will be very, very interesting and very important.
Bam Rodriguez, who just walked past there, keeps on finishing these fighters in devastating fashion. Just how good of a finisher is he, first of all?
I just think he's an unbelievable fighter. I think sometimes in the past when he's dropped down from those kind of mega fights, he hasn't looked as good. And for me, the showing of maturity tonight to demolish Guevara like that, like, you have to understand, this guy's a very good fighter, Guevara. Very durable, and no one does anything even remotely like that to him. He absolutely battered him. I mean, the knockout, if you know your boxing, what he did was just unbelievable. And for me, at 24 years of age, I think this kid's going to be pound for pound number one. I really do. And, again, we want to unify. I see him moving to bantamweight quite quickly as well. But I wouldn't mind him trying to pick up another title or two, at 115. I think the Chocolatito fight is a great fight. Obviously, he's slayed the legends of the sport, and that would be another one. And, Chocolatito's still a great fighter, but an unbelievable performance from Bam tonight.
Could you make that Chocolatito fight? Mr. Honda's kind of involved and stuff there.
Yeah, they're up for it. Like, they never really wanted to make that fight, but I think everybody acknowledges that's a money fight. It's a great fight. So I think that fight could be made.
You make that in Saudi Arabia, Eddie?
Possibly. I mean, every fitter would like to fight in Saudi Arabia at the moment. But, His Excellency loves great fighters. He loves pound for pound great fighters. And I think it's only a matter of time before you see Bam on a Riyadh season card.
Let's move down the card a little bit. Ray Ford, dominating performance tonight.
Yeah, I mean, how Gonzalez got up after that first knockdown. I mean, he was absolutely spandoodled on the floor. He tried to get up, and then he just beat his chest at like 8, didn't he? And just got up. I thought it was a good performance from Ray. Like, last few rounds were a bit scrappy because obviously Gonzalez was just trying to survive. But this kid's really good. Look, we've got the best 230-pounders in the world in Sugar Nunes and Ray Ford. You know.
I'm going to ask you a question here. You're probably not going to like, right? Do you say to Nunes, I promise you're getting the shot, step aside for this one, make a catchy fight?
We've already stepped aside. Listen, I've got to be honest with you. I'm really disappointed in Enzo Kakachi. Really disappointed.
Has he officially confirmed that?
No, but it's coming. And it's like, you know, if myself and Queensbury weren't quite getting on the other way, I would be absolutely tearing him to pieces. But out of respect, I'll just say pleasantly, it's a horrendous duck. Horrendous duck. But, you know, Anto will say, I want big, you know, he's not a big name. And I'm like,
which is probably true. And when you're
defend your title against him, like, he's just won the title. He's never defended his world title. Anto Kakachi.
Well, Warrington, but that
he didn't defend his world title. Didn't defend the IBF world title. It wasn't on the line. So he's got a mandatory. Like, if you want to go out and unify the division and be a great division, you have to fight your mandatories. But he can't beat Sugar Nunes. And I think the people around him know that. But I'll tell you what, it's a fucking great fight. Because he's a tough bastard, Anto. And Nunes is a fucking monster. And I was really disappointed because I really want to see the fight, you know. But that's the way it goes. And, you know, I think Nunes will end up fighting for a vacant title. And in his first defence, we'll fight Ray Ford.
Talk to me a little bit about Amo Williams comes back with that performance tonight. Where at the beginning you're kind of like, okay, is Amo in a dogfight here? And then
a good opponent, like a game opponent. You know, what was he? I think undefeated or one defeat. Like, we match our guys tough. Like, and that was an 8-rounder to come back in, and he had to show a little bit of balls. It was a good performance, great stoppage, and he'll be moving into big fights next year.
I spoke to Amo Williams, and he said what he wants is Lara or Berlanga.
Yeah, I know. I like the fight with Liam Smith, to be honest with you.
Do you think that you would make a fight with him and Edgar Berlanga, or is that?
No, I don't. I think, you know, obviously that's at 168 Edgar, so we'll have to see. But, you know, Amo wants the big fight. See you guys.
I just want a quick word on KHALIL Cole, who unfortunately came up short tonight. What did you make of that, Eddie?
I mean, 1, it was a real fight. And 2, if you ain't conditioned right in this sport, you know, it's a disaster. And I don't think he made the weight great. I think after 2 or 3 rounds, he was blowing. And if you ain't going to live the life and you're not going to get yourself conditioned and in shape, I'll just tell young fighters one thing. Conditioning is key. Right? You got to be ready to go to the fucking deepest depths every single time. You got to be so fit in this sport. You got to do the weight right. You got to be disciplined. And that's not what KHALIL Cole did. And he paid the price tonight. By the way, Gallegos is a just really good, strong fighter. But Diego Pacheco took him out in 5 rounds. Right? But I knew that Gallegos would just test the resolve of KHALIL Cole a little bit. Yeah? But because he wasn't conditioned correctly, he let him run over him. What
do you do now? Do you make that rematch maybe with Gallegos before you put him in with Josh Squat?
We'll see. I mean, look, you know, I mean, we're miles off those fights now because, you know, he lost tonight. So we can't start talking about those names. We can't start calling those performances. But he's got to probably try and put that right, and it's going to be a tough task.
In terms of you know, people are talking about the signings that you're going to make. Marco Verde?
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely not imminent, Marco Verde. He's talking to everybody, you know. But he's a good fighter.
What about Pat Brown?
A fighter I would love to sign. Absolutely love to sign, but we'll see.
Jack Catterall, any news there?
No, not yet. Obviously, he's going to be looking out for the Hitchens against Paro winner, and we'll see what happens.
Eddie, appreciate your time. Thanks, mate.